Today we're going to talk about how to hold seller workshops. How can you get homeowners into workshops to do your listing presentation in a one-to-many format and get listing contracts signed afterwards? Wouldn't that be exciting? Who is going to show up for a seller workshop? It is going to be an older demographic. They probably have lived in their home for about 10 years, maybe even 20 years, and they're probably looking to downsize. How do you generally get the word out? Well, you would send an email out to your database, like all of your buyers, all of your sellers that you're doing a workshop. But I got to be real with you, it's not incredibly that effective because you're kind of hitting a very large market of people that might not be interested in attending a seller workshop. And probably the two best ways to help get the word out is through some direct mail to a targeted list, even some targeted outbound email to a targeted list, as well as some targeted phone calls. And if you had the option of making your seller workshop about the entire city, versus, let's say, a niche district or niche area or township, you'd be much better off with the latter. Sue Adler, who's a client of ours, she's the number one agent in New Jersey, does about $5 million a year gross commission income. Sue put 1,000 homeowners through 90-minute seller workshops over the past 2 years to teach those who have not sold a home in a very long time all of their options to sell. So what she does is she picks a very specific town. Then, once she picks a town where she's going to be really targeting homeowners there for the information, establishes a date and time for the workshop specific to that area, and then sends out a direct mail letter, along with she has a team of 4 outbound telemarketers in the States, making calls to those same homeowners that she sent a letter to get the word out to invite them to the event. She holds about 1 seller workshop a week on Zoom, which is more efficient and painless, she says, than in person. And she's woven the workshop into her entire kind of seller acquisition strategy. Well, before COVID, she would hold these at libraries. She should go to a local library in whatever little part of town it was, little niche area of town, and you can probably rent the library space for like $50. So she'd rent the library space, and then she would throw up an event on Eventbrite. So this is really simple. Up on Eventbrite, let's type in seller workshop. And instead of searching where I live, perfect. So there's a lot of people doing these. See this? Here's one, home downsizing workshop. Here's one. Here's one. Now there's a whole bunch of these. Virtual home buying workshop. Someone goes on here, they scroll on down. Here's all the details. They click select a date. Apparently I can choose any one of these here. Click a ticket. Click register. And this is how you get your lead. So all I want you to take away from this is all you have to do is go on Eventbrite, create an event for a seller workshop. If you're not really sure what to say, just search Eventbrite for seller workshops. There'll be a whole bunch of people doing that, many of the clients of ours. And it looks good. So kind of model that, right? And then inside Eventbrite, there's the option to personalize the checkout form. Make sure when somebody orders their ticket, which is free, you ask all the right questions so you get all the information that you need when a lead comes in. So this doesn't cost any money. Setting up an Eventbrite page is essentially free. Charging for Eventbrite is free. I mean, you can find out what people are saying for their Eventbrite pages by doing a Eventbrite search and create something just like I showed you. Now, here's what's important. When somebody registers, all right, you want to call them. I'm excited to see that you're coming to the workshop. And that's where I would invite them into like a Google meeting request, where I would invite everybody into the meeting request where there's a Zoom link. I would probably avoid doing a Zoom webinar. Like this is a webinar format of Zoom. You'll have better results if you do like a Zoom meeting where you can see everybody. And before people show up to the Zoom meeting, you should have someone call them and make sure their webcam works and audio works. So the more interaction you can have on the Zoom meeting for your seller workshop, the better. You would think that a lot of these events need to be done in person, and it's just not the case. You can certainly bring people to essentially webinars to help get listing leads. It's not very common. I mean, in internet marketing, you'll see all the time doing it right now, or doing online events. You see it in the coaching and training consulting spaces. You just don't see a lot of people in real estate doing online webinars or online workshops to generate leads. And it really separates you apart. And honestly, because most people are very scared with the idea of public speaking. But if you can get over that and teach like this, you'll have access to a kind of a really cool, unique channel to bring in some seller leads. So I could do in this case, Omaha, Nebraska workshop, which is the whole city, which is fine. And I could certainly do that. And if I'm going to advertise on Facebook, or if I'm going to send an email to my database, it certainly needs to be for the whole city because Facebook ads hit the whole city. and an email out to your database will hit the whole city. Sound good? And that's where I recommend you start. Just start with a big city, the whole area seller workshop, and send an email out to your database, as well as maybe do a little bit of Facebook ads to drive traffic. But I also want to encourage you to set up some additional Eventbrite pages for specific niche areas in the city. You can use outbound email, and you can use direct mail, and you can use outbound cold calling to reach out to people to get them to invite them into one of the workshops.